Hello YouTube, this is Self-Expression by Aja. I know it's been a while. I just wanted to make a quick video and just kind of, do what I intended to do when I started this channel, which is just to use it as self-expression. I have made several videos, trying to make it work this way, trying to present it this way, and then I just realized, for me, it is just easier if I just speak naturally and just do it for myself. So I think what I'm going to do is continue to use this channel as a self-expression because I realize that um, I'm probably going to have to start another channel. That was actually recommended to me, and I already had it in the back of my thoughts as well because I don't want to have any limits with respect to this channel. I really want it to be authentic from my heart expression. Then I had the thought of, well, then what I'll do is I'll just create playlists and go from there. So who is my audience? Who do I think will be my audience? I think my audience will be, prior to my head elevation, I was in the church. I was, working with, here we go again. See, it's just, but this is the thing. This is how it needs to go. And hopefully I can get this out to where it'll make some sense. So, but I kind of wanted to categorize it. So for instance, but I'm thinking when I start the other channel, maybe I'll name the other channel that. But since I'm so challenged with technology, what I really wanted this video to be is to explain, if I haven't already, just kind of why I'm doing things the way I do. So one, prior to my head elevation, I was really challenged with technology. I didn't like it. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. I basically would get my cousin or my sister to set it up, or somebody at work to set it up, and then I do what I need to do, get the help, print it out, and be done with it. But I have been slowly learning how to do things, which is, I'm starting to get a headache, which I think is very interesting, but it's okay. I'll get through it. Um, Relax. So, and that was another thing too. It's like trying to maintain a certain composure when you deal with the things that I've dealt with after a head injury. I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to be able to freely express um, just some of the frustrations of recovering from a head injury when you have this paradigm, or you have this way that you're supposed to do things, especially coming out of Christianity. And so, and after I came to, it's like a whole new world for me, and I had to do things differently, and it's almost like I had to play catch up. And it's like, is this the world that I left, or was it that I was so into church, into Christianity, that I wasn't aware of these things, or was it because after I hit my head, I awakened, what's going on? And then there are very frustrating moments where I use profanity, I'm frustrated, you know, when I came to the realization of things. So what I thought about doing was, so basically I'm making this video to let you guys know that I do plan on continuing to express myself. And I might just do that for a little while until I'm ready to categorize things. But what I've come up now is that why am I calling one of the playlists My Flawed Perspective? And that is because, so basically I'm thinking about doing three categories: my flawed perspective, my soul, my spirit, myself, and then of course self-expression by Aja, which is why I'm thinking now I'll just start two separate channels. That way it won't get confusing. But in the meantime, I'm going to just use the and this is my reality. So basically, if I keep waiting till I feel my best, or waiting till everything is perfect, I will never do a video. And I don't have the skills to edit, and I don't have, it's just like me wanting to start that video because I, made an error, or I didn't like what I'm saying, or I'm repeating myself, or I'm being redundant. A lot of times that stops because just like when that pain hit in my head, or whatever. So I'm already 5 minutes into it and I haven't really said anything. So let me just get to it. So my flawed perspective. When I was practicing Christianity, I wrote a book and I titled it "Coming Out of My Den of Demons." And with respect to that work, it was about me coming out of homosexuality and submitting my life to Christ. However, I've stated in my previous videos that I no longer believe that way. And so what I've decided to do is I'm going to keep my flawed perspective, and then what I'm going to be discussing in those videos or expressing is just what I learned during that process, because now I feel like, now that I've been enlightened to the knowledge and information that I know to be true, and this is not something that I'm arguing with or discussing with someone. This is not something I need to ask anyone. I don't need to ask anyone. I know that this is true for me. And so Coming Out of My Den of Demons is written. I think it's a horrific book. I think it's, and the reason why I say it's horrific because it's, I thought I was coming out of homosexuality, but now I'm changing the title to Coming Out of My Den of Demons, My Flawed Perspective, because I was under a certain belief system with respect when I wrote that book, and now I have a different take on it. Not only was I coming out of homosexuality, I was coming out of the whole fake matrix. And so that's what my flawed perspective is going to be about. Then I had this idea of my soul, my spirit, myself, because as someone who was, I still am, but I don't have the urgency that I had prior, because now I'm just really focused on working on myself. That was my soul, my spirit, myself. Now I was taught that all souls belong to God. I really wasn't really sure about what happened with the spirit. And then I was taught that I was to deny myself, which I did. But in denying myself, it made me vulnerable to being taken advantage of, vulnerable to being mistreated. Basically, I was doing what everyone else wanted. I didn't even know what I wanted. I didn't even think it mattered what I wanted or what my dreams and goal was. I just tried to be a good steward over whatever I had and tried to be a humble servant. So then once I came into this knowledge, I started thinking and knowing my soul is all I have. And then I realized, after being in certain situations, there was no one to help me. There was no one there for me. Not the way I've been there for people and how I've sacrificed on others' behalf and gave my last and did things not giving knowledge to, not giving thought to how it was going to affect me. And then when I was in a situation where I really, really needed help, I didn't get it the way I believed that I was supposed to get it based on what I was taught. Now I don't expect anything. I understand I got to do it myself, and that is really what I'm doing. And so, so I just, I continue this journey. So my soul, my spirit, myself, then I was thinking, well, maybe that is where I should talk about spirituality and things, because there was a part of me when I came to this awakening is that I just didn't want to talk about the Bible at all. I didn't want to talk about Christianity. But then I keep thinking, but there has to be a purpose in me learning and understanding all of that, and me studying those scriptures and researching them and studying in other languages and coming to the understanding of what, what's really going on in this life, what's really going on in this third dimension. So basically, when I came to this awakening, I just had this thought, anything to do with my past with respect to working with children, Christianity and the church, I just really didn't want to have anything to do with it, mainly because I was exhausted, just simply exhausted, and being an empath. And so I have a lot to talk about. Then I keep thinking, like as I'm going right now, it remains to be seen that I will even get those things up. But I just wanted to make this video to let you all know that I still plan on expressing myself. And because the way I live, I'm alone. Um, as I continue to um, balance my life out so I can live in a way that, well, basically works for me and is healthy for me. And then I have learned so much that I also didn't want to speak to people. In other words, I just decided I'm going to let it do what it does, meaning I'm just going to be me, because I think that is the best way to do it, and those who I attract will come. I also understand that it may be redundant. It depends on how I'm feeling on any given day. I have a lot to talk about, meaning I wasn't going to leave anything unturned. I also thought about just doing a playlist just totally related to the head injuries. And the reason why I think that's important is because I use a lot of profanity now, meaning I don't do it as much, but after my head injury, I was really cursing a lot out of frustration, out of pain, out of trying to get your attention. And was not normally my nature. But I'm also learning that all of it's me. When I get angry, when I have certain thoughts, but Christianity taught me to repress those thoughts or to pray it away. And so what I've learned is that if you don't really deal with it and heal from it, it really is going to come back up. And so the other thing that I, wanted to deal with is, homosexuality. I'm just going to deal with all of me, because I don't really want to, and it could happen, but I don't want to talk about anyone else. I'm not blaming anyone else. I'm not pointing the finger at anyone else. I already said in my previous videos, if you watch, that forgiveness and all that stuff is real. But at the same time, I also will be discussing some things, and a lot of the things I will be discussing are things that happened in the past, things that I experienced. You got to remember, I hit my head in 2011. It's 2019, okay, and I'm still recovering. I still have issues from that. And so I just have so much to let out, because as you can imagine, I'm 53 years old, and I have a lot of videos. So if you see some videos come, it's videos that I made, but I wasn't always feeling well, and sometimes you can tell it, and I'm not feeling my best now because I didn't sleep last night, and that's something that's common. I don't sleep well, and so I'm working on it. So I'm working on everything. I'm working on just being the best version of myself. So my flawed perspective will be with respect to, that will be the probably the place where because this is the thing, having had a head injury after your life for the past 14 years was all about Christianity and Christ and teaching the Bible, and then you hit your head, and then I did not get, and for those of you who say you did, I remember what I remember. There was only 2 couples that came to minister to me. When I say minister, y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, hey, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. I still can't take care of myself. I still can barely get to the bathroom. I can't get to the doctor. So that's what I mean. I had to get an outside agency to help me. So, but that is not what I anticipated, because I really did the work of an evangelist. I gave my time. I gave of myself. I went to the nursing homes. I went to the hospitals. I went in people's home. I washed people's feet. I combed people's hair. And I did not get that. I did not get that. And so I did later on. I had a handful of people that helped me, but it wasn't for a long period of time. It may have been for a day or 2. For the most part, it was just me and the Most High. And that is how I was able to learn how powerful I was and who I really am, and tapping into, my best self. So, and I'm happy about that. I'm proud of myself. So my flawed perspective, that is where I will deal with scriptures and I will just go as I feel led, but only if I feel like it's beneficial. And then with respect to my soul, my spirit, myself, I don't really know how that's going to fit in. And I do have this, the children. I don't know how that's going to work out or what I'm going to do around that or what I'm going to talk about. I just honestly feel like I should leave it alone right now. However, I will set aside that because, oh, and also, I'm sorry, these are titles of books. My Soul, My Spirit, Myself, and Coming Out of Demons, My Flawed Perspective. And so as I dig out my notes and go through things, I don't know what I'm going to run into. I don't know how I'm going to be affected by it, but I also remember that I also know that everything that I've done is a part of who I am, and I can't just push that aside and act like it didn't exist. And also, I also want to explain as best I can. And it's not that I feel like I owe an explanation. It's just that I genuinely do care about people. I love people. And the reason why I'm keeping, I don't want to deal with children right now is because I have a certain standard and a certain way that I deal with children. And I know most of the children are probably grown. You know, if you're 18 and you're somebody I've worked with, you can watch this. But I just don't want to influence because I'm sure that I don't want to do anything to disrupt you, and I don't want you to be freaking out because I taught a lot of children, and I am always good to children. I adore children. However, one of the reasons that I really decided to stop working with children is because I couldn't lie to them anymore. That's really the reason. And for any of you all who know me, it is very difficult for me to lie. I actually have a hard time doing it. So now I live my truth. So that's easy. If I just tell my truth, it's just like my head's hurting right now. And there's no need of me trying to pretend like everything is okay. But this is not the type of headache from the head injury. It's more of the just trying to get through the day-to-day life and eating all the right things and eating healthy things and really continuing to heal my body and giving my body every chance it can to be successful. So, I only drink spring water, natural spring water. All I have right now is fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. That's what I eat. And it was recommended to me that I do I don't know why y'all call them what y'all call them, but one of those eating videos. I actually have done one of those, but it's not much to eat because it was just a smoothie. And, I just put a bunch of superfoods in it and just eat it. So, and then of course there are times that I regret just not making the video. So I might just randomly make videos, just like I might stop this one and start over and, do it again. Self-expression is more about, because there is a side to me that I now understand better that others saw in me that I didn't see in myself, and that was my intensity, my passion, and my fighting spirit. So right now I'm using all of my energy and all of my spirit to fight for me. Yes, I had to go through this thing because I was so much about my family. I love my family so much, and I love children so much, and everything I did was for them, even though they may not have been aware of that or didn't think that, but I really did put myself aside and I really did sacrifice myself. But then at the same time, I realized that I was dwindling away and no one appeared to care about me. I know that there are some people out there who love me and care about me. I know that. I'm not ignorant to that. I am aware of that. But I needed more, and so I had to be that more to myself. At the same time, in the back of my mind, even though I say that, I do think about all of my family who are still practicing Christianity. I think about it all the time, but I also know that that is not my place to do anything about. I also know that you have a certain belief that I'm backslidden, that I'm going to hell, that Satan has got me, that it's a demonic spirit. And I know, for me, it's none of that. It's none of that at all. So And that's what I was going to do. That's why I'm going to set up my flawed perspective, because I felt like for those who had questions, because I know this is going to happen no matter what I do, somebody is not going to get it and still going to send me scriptures, because it happened, on Facebook, you're sending me scriptures or you're sending me testimonies and all that. And I can say to you, I don't want to hear it, and because I already know it. Okay. And then at the same time, I know you believe that God told you to send it to me. Well, no, you felt I needed it because you felt that that's what I was missing. But what I was missing was me. That was what was missing in my whole walk with Christianity, was me, because there was no place for me. And I'm supposed to wait until I transition. I don't believe I die. I just believe I transition until I get to wherever the place is that is supposedly prepared for me. And then I can get what? I don't know. It's yet to be seen. So this is just my belief. And so, there were some relatives that sent me some stuff in my messages, sent me some scriptures. And of course, you may not have liked my response, and that's okay. But I didn't like you sending, this is what bothered me. You send me a scripture, but how about sending me a letter, or how about asking, how are you doing? Are you okay? Is there anything I can do to help? Because again, I've read the whole Bible. I've read the whole thing. I know every scripture in there, or I can find it. And for those of you who know me, I actually remembered them and could tell you where they were. And if I couldn't tell you where they were, I certainly can find it. Not only that I studied the scriptures, I studied all the references connected with the scripture. So if you have this scripture, you could find it in 3 or more other places in the Bible. I studied it that way. I also studied it in Greek and Hebrew, meaning when I found a word that was translated from Hebrew or Greek, I actually studied that. And this was all prior to my head elevation. After my head elevation, I already explained this to you, and that's kind of something I want to expound on, is how things changed. And so I didn't have the words or the vocabulary to apply to those experiences. And of course, I was in so much pain and so much discomfort. I was just searching for anything that would help me. I think I said I was on 7 medications. I'm now on 1. I'm on 1 right now. 1. And that more so was my doing, meaning that, anytime I would consult doctors, they always want to give you some medication. But, I will say, I don't always have the best reactions to medication, but after my head injury, it was so bad that I would do anything to stop it. But then I also had some other challenges as well, and I'm thinking it was from the head injury. And so I just went on this search for how to do. There has to be something to make me feel better. There has to be. And then me serving the Most High and a God that performs miracle, why must I suffer these things? What have I done that I have to suffer these things? And this didn't make sense to me. It just didn't make sense. And so I went on this search, and this is how I ended up with secret energy, because I really was looking for wellness, something that was going to help me, and I found it. And that's when I started to see improvement. But then I also got more than I bargained for. I wasn't anticipating that. I just wanted to know how to feel better and to remove pain. And so I started doing all the research about, what. And then that's when I learned about tissue cell salts. I mean, that's really the truth. And then I thought, well, let me try this, because, healing things on the cellular level is important. And that's another thing I was thinking, do I want this to just be a health channel? And so I just actually think that it's just best, now that I'm in the process of doing this, is just to continue to just discuss whatever I discuss, and then I'm just going to categorize it in its place. So I don't know if I'm going to put this video up, but this is just to let you all know that I do plan on continuing to, on a more consistent base, at least regardless of how I'm feeling. Maybe I can call it journaling the journal. Regardless of how I'm feeling, even if I just do it for 2 or 3 minutes or 9 minutes or however long, then so be it. And So I think I'm going to stop it, and then I'm going to try to do something, um, just do something a little different and see, who knows? I may make several videos and just put them all up and whatever, because I also see, again, I want this to be natural. I don't want this to be, because I just believe how it comes out is how it's supposed to come out. And then also, it is truly who I am. It is truly my experience. And for some of you, for those of you who had, and this is the thing, I will say this, I don't really think any of you know me now. I think, um, basically, if you had experience with me from the past, I'm not that person, and that's what I was trying to convey with you. You might think that, well, then she's going to do this, she's going to do this. But one thing you can kind of be sure about is, I'm always going to have that compassionate heart, and I'm always going to have that loving and caring heart. That's always going to be there. But what's different now is that I will fight for myself and I will defend myself. That's probably something that you won't be used to. And if you come at me in a crazy way, um, you won't be around me long, because I tend to avoid that type of situation. And if you're on a different vibration and we're not in sync, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to debate with you. And I'm certainly not going to do what you say. Because one of the things that I lived is, I feel like in the first part of my life, somebody was always telling me what the fuck to do, and I couldn't do what I wanted to do. And I have a very brilliant mind. I'm very, very smart. And I just haven't always used it to my advantage. Also, I think it's important that you get to just observe simply, especially for those of you who know me and those of you who have the gift of discernment and who can see and pick up on certain things. You can pick up whether I'm serious or I'm being real, or some of you may just believe that she really believes that, but, or, you know what, I know that too, but I just didn't want to say it because the Bible taught me this, or I was told this. And I do know that some of the things that I'm going to say is going to be disturbing to some of you. And if that's the way you feel, then don't watch. You don't have to. But for people who have had head injuries and then you are believed a certain way, and trying to live that way makes your head hurt even more. For instance, telling me to come to church. Why would I want to come to church with all that loud music and all those energies just running around? And, it was excruciating. Okay, it's excruciating sometimes for me to be in the grocery store. Okay, so let alone coming to church with all of that, and then being expected to help and minister to people wasn't going to happen. I needed to be ministered to. And since there was no one there, I just decided to minister to myself. Okay, and you can say what you want, and you can say, now again, I'm not denying that in your mind you felt like you were doing your part, and so you did that, and I'm not denying that. And so I will say this: one of the most significant changes that some of you may be hard to accept is that I don't judge myself anymore. That gave me so much release to stop judging myself, especially with respect to homosexuality, when I'm not even sleeping with anybody. Okay, and it's just like, and at the stage and the age that I am at, I just want to live my best life and have fun and have a good time. And I'm dealing with this pain. I mean, it's just real. Okay, and so I aim to always stay relaxed, always stay calm. And for those of you who may not think that, well, if you knew the first part of my life, I think that, and that's all that matters, okay? And that's what I want, and I am doing better. I have made a lot of progress. The fact that I'm able to, sit here and do this video, but this is just what I need right now. And if I didn't express anything, I don't know if I said this in the previous video, but what are you supposed to do if you're exhausted? You're exhausted. Think about that. You still got to pay bills. You're still expected to go to work. You're still expected to come to church. Oh, 2 weeks is enough. Oh, a month is enough. I was exhausted. You're talking about someone who went 10 days straight without sleeping, who slept, I can't remember if it was 3 or 4 days out of 24 or 5 days. Just think about that. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And you can't live like that. So I was exhausted. And of course, I keep saying this, my body was shutting down. And I kept going. And then even when I supposedly was supposed to sleeping, I wasn't sleeping, but then I would continue. And so it got to the point where I could not move. Okay? So for all of you who have any thoughts or an opinion about what I could or what I could not have done, I already said it. Okay? And again, I do want to try to keep this. That was another one of those moments, because really what I really wanted to say was just really how I felt with just that energy and But then at the same time, I'm working on keeping things balanced, because I also don't want my head, there's like a pain going, see right there. And so that means I need to take a deep breath. So I wasn't even breathing correctly, okay? And I was always tense and always stressed. And of course, one of the things that I plan on expressing in my Flawed Perspective is the spiritual abuse of Christianity and how it went against myself, and how, and being told that I was going to go to hell. Of course, who wants to go to hell if there's such a place? Okay, and then the thing about it is, I only do that is because I have had experience with that, and not in the way that some of you may have believed or imagined. So, again, I think I'm just going to go ahead and, if nothing else, I think I am going to go ahead and upload this video, because at least I will get it done, and then maybe I'll come back and do another one. Peace.